Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Mary Zummer with my comrade in arms,
Hi, I'm Adrian.
and together we are Life a Go Go. Today, we're going to be chatting a little bit, having a little coffee chat with y'all about that's right, we got our mugs. Grab yours about the holidays and everything, all about making it your own holiday and having
Yeah,
doing it.
absolutely. So today's meeting was actually called "It's Okay and Maybe Even Better If Your Holidays Look a Little Bit Different This Year." So, Mary, with that being said, do you want to kick us off and tell us a little bit about what your 2025 holiday season looks like?
Well, mine looks this year, it looks kind of traditional to a point. It is my husband, and then I have a semi-grown, 19-year-old daughter. So it'll be the three of us. But that's it. No extended family. We don't have we have a really tiny family. So it'll just be kind of us. Now, our Thanksgiving will have been a little different because it's neighbors. So we're having eight people, and five of them are not related to us. So, and then two more are coming for dessert later. So, it's that we're just having neighbors in, and everybody's potlucking it, that type of thing. But Christmas will be the three of us, and it'll be a lot of fun. It will be Christmas Day, which also can sometimes be different for us, and we'll have a good time. But I won't be going to see my sister, and we may, yeah. So yeah, it'll just be us.
Yeah, we have a small family too. So, um, we're actually staying home this Thanksgiving. So Josh is supposed to go help his brother, but I think with the storm, we're gonna just kind of hang out here. And I really like to watch the Macy's parade, so like that's my thing. And we cook a lot of turkey just because we eat a lot of turkey throughout the year. So like now is the time. So we've been cooking, I think we cooked 10 birds this week. So we're we're up to a lot of turkey in our house. So we're not
Okay,
having turkey for Thanksgiving.
10 turkeys.
I
Okay.
think that's our goal. Yeah, so 10 turkeys this. I feel like
Oh,
we're not up. I think we're up to like maybe six or seven actually. Now I think about it. I think we have a couple more to go. But yeah, Josh has been rotating those turkeys out every day.
okay.
So, but yeah, and so we're actually just enjoying like I like the parade, and then he tolerates it with me, and then he'll probably go do his own thing unless he can actually get up there to help his brother. So
Hmm.
we'll see. And then for Christmas, we're a Christmas Eve family. So I know you're a Christmas Day or Christmas Day, it's over for me. I'm like, ah, whatever, it's done. See you next year. But yeah, we're a Christmas Eve family. So we'll be going to my mom's for Christmas Eve because we still have my niece who's 5 this year. So
Oh,
it's all the magic for her. So we're heading out that way. But Mary, you've had tons of different Christmases over the years. Like you've had some exotic Christmases and some not so. Do you want to share a little bit about how like your Christmases have looked different?
I, yes. Well, part of it is for 30 years, I didn't live anywhere close to my family. And when I say not close, I mean 5,000 miles away. I lived on the other side of the world and out in the middle of Hawaii. And so I was single. I didn't have a boyfriend. And my Christmases and Thanksgivings, a lot of the Thanksgivings were kind of Friendsgivings because a lot of people, we just kind of came together and had a potluck. But it's weird because, it's 85 degrees outside for Thanksgiving, and Hawaii's always warm where we live on Oahu. And so it's always tropical. So a lot of times on Thanksgiving, I went to the beach. If I didn't go to somebody's house, I was happy. I went down to the beach, laid on the beach all day, had the day off from work. It was fabulous. And just, and I was okay being just with me. The same thing at Christmas. I had many Christmases, in fact, most of them where I did not fly home. Um, and people were so worried. It's like, oh, you can't be alone. I'm like, oh, but I can. I enjoyed it because I didn't have to get up and get dressed and go anywhere because I was working all the time. And one of the best Christmases I had was my two friends came over, two guys, and we had this junk food, and we all loved the same type of movies, the same kind of I can't remember who used to make them, but they always starred Helena Bonham Carter, and they were always some, period piece. And we just ate junk food and watched movies and fell asleep on the couch and woke up and, just laid back and had the best time. And of course, it's 80 degrees outside. And that was our Christmas, and it was fabulous. And it's all in what you make it. And at that time when I was living out there, there was no Zoom. I mean, all you could do, you called on the phone and wished everybody a happy Christmas, and
Very early in the morning.
and then yeah, yeah, well, yeah, because we were 6 hours behind the East Coast, so it's like, yeah, don't call me too early. And then later on, when my husband worked, he worked nights years later when I got married and we had kids. So he was on night shift. And so with the kids, Thanksgiving wasn't necessarily Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas or Christmas Eve wasn't necessarily Christmas or Christmas Eve. And they were little enough that we could massage it around. But, and I don't traditionally cook at Christmas. I do takeout. I've always done takeout, and it's fabulous. Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. Everybody brings something and I order stuff in. But we changed the date of Christmas, and we made it work for us. It was about us, not anybody else. We've eaten meals in a restaurant. I've taken the kids and we've met my husband on shift to eat on Thanksgiving for a few minutes until he got to go to a call. We took a picnic. All my holidays have looked very different, you know.
So when you were out like in Hawaii or like even in California when you guys were living out there, like how did you so much of the Christmas we get promoted to is like that white Christmas iconic winter scenes, the warm cozy. So like for I guess our friends in Australia and the people living in the warmer climates, how do you embrace that season? Like how did you make it still feel like Christmas?
I still got a Christmas tree and I still had a Christmas wreath. But the rest of it was just, you kind of joke because, you have palm trees and you hang Christmas
Yeah.
wreaths on the palm trees the lower ones, the shorter ones that people grow in pots. And it was just kind of, you ignored the fact that it's supposed to be Currier and Ives snowing with sleigh bells. But it still felt like it did and did not. I mean, it was strange because it wasn't even chilly, and
Yeah.
I think I loved the idea that, okay, y'all are cold on Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I'm laying on the beach.
Yeah, we can't really feel too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, not too much guilt, not too much to feel bad about there for me. So, but I mean, we always had a tree and a wreath and wrapped the gifts and had Christmas music. Your red and green was just shorts and a t-shirt, or whatever.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting, like you said, like, you don't mind being alone on the holidays. Like luckily I haven't really been too alone on the holiday too often. But like, I think when you don't have the traditional like kids at home, like especially like either you're older or you're younger and you don't have your family yet, like there's a lot of pressure to conform to everybody who does have kids at the holidays. Like I don't know if you experienced that, but like when I was working, people would be like, well, I have to go pick my kid up from daycare. I have the class play. And so like they leave and they leave you with the work and you're like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think like when we talk about, your holidays looking different, on the one side, it's kind of like a little bit of having those boundaries, so
Mhm.
that your time's protected too, because the fact that you don't have kids means that you do have the time to go up to the holiday party, or you have time to go, caroling or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Um, but sometimes, like, especially at work, it doesn't feel like you have that right to advocate for that. So it's really important to just be like, hey, I have something going on tonight too. Like, you don't have to tell people what it is, but you don't have to always get stuck with the kid excuse card. I think the other side of that though is it's really nice. Like my mom went to her local Sparkle, her grocery store, and
Oh,
there was all these ladies working, and she's like, "Oh, it's so nice that you guys are working." I think it was like 4th of July or something, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well we don't have the little ones, so we don't mind coming in on the holidays so that those people can have it." And they're like, "We have so much fun just hanging out together." So it's really kind of making sure that you're doing what you want for yourself, but also like if you do have that freedom, it can kind of go both ways, but just setting that expectation before it happens to you is kind of a key for me
yeah.
at least on that part of it.
Expectations and boundaries. Set
Yeah,
boundaries
exactly.
of like, my time is as valuable as anybody else's, or just because I'm retired doesn't mean, and I'm not, but just because I'm retired doesn't mean I'm available to just step in and solve the problem, or
Absolutely.
bring the
Yeah.
X or do the Y or whatever.
Yeah, or that you should feel like you have to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing though, Mary, is, and this is in last week's video, but we're recording this in the past, so it's in the future YouTube time. In your Hostess with the Mostess video, you're talking a little bit about your Boxing Day tradition. Do you want to share a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, and you know what? That's one of the things that we have added on since we moved to where we currently live about 4.5 years ago.
Mhm.
And, everybody's kind of like your calendars are jam-packed up until Christmas Day a lot of times. And I decided, well, and then all of a sudden Christmas comes, and like you said, okay, Christmas. So Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, and I decided to host an open house for all our neighbors on Boxing Day. So we invite all the neighbors and around the corner and everybody who we know. And we're like, it's an open house from 4 to 6. Come as you are. Someday I'm going to have a contest to say who can wear the best pajamas because so far people kind of tend to dress, and I'm like, you wear what you want. I don't care. And, we have coffee and we have little nibbles, and people just stand around. And the running joke is, I see you once a year at Boxing Day party, even though we're in the same neighborhood. And
Yeah.
so it's just a lot of fun. We see people get to see people that they haven't seen in a long time, even though we're all neighbors, but our neighborhood is really big. So, if people live on the other side of it, you may not ever see them. So it's just really, we have a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
and in meeting our own needs, we have decided that our Boxing Day party may be not on true Boxing Day. It may be the day after Boxing Day, to give ourselves a little bit of time right after Christmas morning to relax and not have to turn around and straighten everything up and get to go. So
Boxing Day-ish. But I think that's a
Boxing
great
Day
idea.
adjacent.
Yeah, our family, I talked about this, I think, in one of my videos too, is that our family started doing things for Veterans Day because we like to do this like little get together where we do a gift exchange. So it's kind of fun. We shop for a present that's $5 or less like throughout the year. And we try to get like, 15, 20 of them. And then it can be either for like my mom or my sister, and vice versa or whatever. Um and it's a fun thing, but it takes so much time. And you want to enjoy that time, but if it's Christmas, you're just so tired. And it was like really getting hard these last couple of years to really have those 3 weekends between Thanksgiving and Christmas to fit it in. So we started doing it on Veterans Day, and that has been awesome. So we've been traveling to like somewhere that has a really cool holiday display. So we went to the Cavern of Lights in Kentucky, but I can't think of what it's called. Right now my brain is fuzzy. But basically, you go into the caves and you can see Christmas lights at like 2 in the afternoon because it's dark. So that was pretty cool. And then this year we went to a place called Castle Noel that has a whole bunch of movie props and like the New York window displays, and just it's just so much Christmas, right? And it's not super crowded when you do it on Veterans Day, but yet it's still close enough that you're already feeling the holiday vibes. So it's just, I think it's actually better now that we're doing it this way, because it just makes the whole season seem longer. And it's fun to like kick off with my family members that time because, when people get married, it gets harder to get those schedules in
Hmm.
to see everyone.
So then you're kind of already doing your Christmas in November. Is that when you do your present exchange? That's
Well, it's called we call it Pollyanna. It's just like a small item. It's just for the girls in the family. Like it's not like my little niece is included in now too. But it's just like for my family to kind of have like a core celebration together. So we also have Christmas gifts on Christmas, but that's just kind of something fun, and it just keeps you thinking about people throughout the year, because you're like, oh, I got this when we traveled here. I got this, wherever. Um, so I think like one of the things that we talked about, in this conversation a little bit is just those expectations. And so kind of I know that's not something we want to talk about in this video is there's so many expectations out there. And I think Hallmark, although Mary, you still haven't officially watched a real Hallmark movie, have you yet?
yeah. Someday I thought I had watched one, and then I was informed by the people that know of Hallmark movies, that was not a Hallmark movie I had
Yeah.
watched. Like,
It was
oh,
like it was a Netflix spinoff.
something. Yeah, I was like, oh, and I thought I had watched a Hallmark movie. Daggone.
Yeah, so what's funny is when we used to meet on Sunday nights, there was a whole group of us that were Hallmark, high core Hallmark watchers, and then the rest of us were like, okay.
And you're
Like,
there with me. I've never seen.
yeah, I'm in between. I like to watch a few of them, but I don't have like the actual Hallmark channel. So, but anyways, but one of the things I had read, it was a long time ago, but I read this relationship advice blog. It was like how to like have a better relationship with your spouse. And one of the things that they talked about in there was not to read romance novels or get too into romance movies because they're written for women by women mostly, and there is the perfect guy. He thinks of all your thoughts, he understands all your needs, and it's just not a reality. But then you start looking at your spouse like, why can't you be like the character in the book, And I feel like that with the Hallmark because we see Hallmark, everybody's available Christmas week, on Thanksgiving. They're all available
It
for both
works.
gathering. It's a 2.5 kid families. They're all coming together, beautiful scenes, beautiful houses. And it kind of sets that expectation. Now, granted, if you're not looking for love, you probably aren't going to care about the storyline. But for me, it's just kind of keeping that expectation. Although I do like to watch them, I gotta realize that that's not the reality for most people. I just feel like that's something that we kind of believe it is because they keep showing it to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we can't compare. I mean, fiction is fiction and fact is fact. And comparing
Yeah.
itself to, I mean, I live in a village, but there's no mogul that's going to come in and try and, destroy the heart of the village, the Christmas tree lot or the lodge that's been there forever. And all these places always have snow.
Yes.
Snow.
Yes.
So yeah, it's kind of like the newsletters, the Christmas newsletters that people send. It's
Absolutely.
like, the notes that I include, I really try and keep it upbeat, but it's still real. And because it's like a highlight reel. You're never going to talk about because who wants to hear about the bad stuff? They don't want to hear that the bathroom flooded when the washing machine gave or the laundry room flooded and the washing machine and then you had to have new drywall, blah blah blah. No, we went here and we traveled there and our kid is doing this and my husband's that and blah blah blah. But I think you have to be aware that it is a highlight reel. It is not, it's like Pinterest. It's
Yeah.
a lie. Yeah, it's not, but it is. It's all the best of the best. None of
Yeah.
the mundane, ordinary, or unfortunate stuff that happens.
Or all the effort that goes into creating that too. I mean, which is kind of funny. My sister pointed this out. 'Cause she is like the Hallmark movie fan, But she was like, there's like for Hallmark who has so much money, right? And they're like the home decor. Like you would think like they're kind of like a Martha Stewart. They're the garland. Like there's like one sad piece of garland. Like the way they decorate is really sad when you actually like there's the grand tree, but then everything else is just sad decorations.
Yes, they pulled out the
It's
box,
like
the one box.
yeah, it's like used Dollar Tree garland. So kind of funny. But yeah, I think with the Christmas cards, it is hard because like you're thinking, oh, all these people have it together, and you're seeing like your family, and it's just such a pressure cooker because this is actually, although we have Hallmark movies telling us about all this love everywhere, it's actually one of the highest seasons for divorce because you're either going to try to survive through this holiday together or you're starting your new year without your partner.
Yeah.
And it's just all that tension builds up. And unfortunately, like it's a lot of people are hurting at this time versus having, jolly holiday festivities in the town square.
Well, and that's a lot of things with just families. I mean, the dynamics of families coming together can be really difficult.
Yeah.
It's all that there's kind of it's everything's kind of bubbling, and sometimes things can just explode and or really go south. Sorry, my nose itches.
And sometimes it's for the best intentions. Like you want everything to go smooth and you're like trying so hard to hold on to this fantasy idea that you actually wind up stressing out the family members.
Rather than relaxing, or you overreact to something that's because you're very tense.
Yeah.
You don't.
And I think that comes into like we talked about when we first started our YouTube series, we talked about the different personality types, and part of that I think comes into that introvert extrovert season. So like as an introvert, being around everybody, like you want to make the most of that time that you have together because people traveled or they freed up their schedule. But then sometimes it can be a lot of interaction at one time when you're an introvert. Um, and also, there's just like a lot more crowds. Like everywhere I go, it's busier right now, and they want you to feel that hype and that energy. But like, I went to the grocery store and this music is blaring, and there's just people everywhere, and it's like it's so much more than what normally would be on a Friday. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
the grocery store. So then, like, you add that, and then you get all the family together, and then you're doing these friend parties, and it's just like there's not a lot of downtime as an introvert. And I know
Yeah.
you're an extrovert, Mary, so you probably have your own issues with that.
Yeah, because I thrive on, I mean, I love being around people and I love the parties and all of that. But then there is you did it all, and then kind of there can be the low behind it, the
Hmm.
because all of a sudden nobody's, or there's nothing to do, and you're kind of, there's boredom and you're looking around trying to figure out what's the next thing. But even as I get older, I realized, like yesterday, I was doing a couple of things, and I came home and announced to my husband, "Okay, I've peopled for the day." Even for me, it was a lot of peopling. And like we went to Costco. A friend and I went to Costco on Monday before Thanksgiving. Don't ever do that. But we had to get some stuff, and it was nuts. It was, I mean, even for me, it was like it was chaos on a stick. And I was just like, okay, well, let's go home now.
Yeah.
Because, but then I was ready the next day, to go do something else, or that evening. But then you can get that downtime and you kind of get bored and you're kind of like, oh, there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
It's a challenge both ways, because someone like me is always looking for the next high, and someone like you is always looking for peace. You know?
Solidarity. But yeah, I think I still feel that low too, because you have so much buildup, so much activity, and then it's just you, and it almost feels like your house is empty. Obviously, because we take away the decorations or we take stuff down, so your house is so busy too at that time, and then it always feels a little bit more empty in that January space.
And that's
Um,
did Boxing Day, and now it's going to be 2 days after Christmas, because it's that whole lull of,
yeah.
okay, now it's done. And I with Boxing Day, now that we're gonna have to call it something else, since it's not truly Boxing Day. We'll come up with a name. It's 2 days after Christmas, when everybody's kind of like, oh, okay. And
It's
then
like,
that's the reason why I leave my decorations up through Old Christmas, through the Epiphany, is to kind of keep the little high going that I like.
yeah, you're gonna have a Kwanzaa. You have until the first. You can
Oh,
stick that out.
I have the 12 days of Christmas, so I have until the Epiphany.
Ooh, there you go. There you go.
Or the
Bring three birds or something for the
three
25th.
wise men haven't made it yet, so they're working their way there. Bringing the bibs.
So, have you seen the shirt that's popular this year? It has the three wise and it says like tonight we ride. Like,
Oh,
I thought that one was pretty funny.
that's cute.
I want to get back to decorations, but before I leave the expectation part, one of the things that I was thinking about, because my husband, he is a big Black Friday shopper. I don't know why you would ever go out in the crowds of Black Friday, but he loved it. Like, he really loved that energy. And it's just like, you can't even do that anymore. Like, we used to go out, when we were couponing, I made him go with me. It was in Philadelphia, in like the inner city part. So probably was good he won anyways. But I was like, there might be crowds at the CVS. There was no one at the CVS. But just us and the cashier, But but we would go to like some of the other stores, and it was kind of fun. But you had that rush and that style, and like you said, Costco on Monday before Thanksgiving kind of has that feel. Um, I found that at Aldi's, when they put out the advent calendar, it was like the aisle was like Black Friday madness. Like, you couldn't get a parking spot. People were fighting over things. But like, that actually just has gone away. Like, I mean, Black Friday shopping started in like October this year,
Yeah.
And it's like, so even if it's something that you really want to keep that tradition, sometimes that tradition just is no longer there anymore. And that's kind of I don't know, it's kind of sad, Like, I don't know. It's just kind of sad. I mean, it's good because people don't have to work on Black Friday and stuff, but it's sometimes I think we have expectations like, oh, we'll do this forever, and it doesn't go that way anyway.
No, it
It's
kind
just
of
out of your control.
it evolves away. It changes.
Yeah.
And that's being able to go with the flow and change and shift as we change through the different phases of our lives. And as
Hmm.
like I'm significantly older than you are, and things change, and you just kind of learn to make new traditions and new
Yeah.
that you enjoy. What you might have enjoyed doing 5 years ago, you don't enjoy as much now, you know?
Exactly. And so that kind of brings us to like that next part of our conversation is really, how do you design a holiday that matters to you? So I guess kind of like the opposite of the newsletter, we want to create like your holiday highlight reel, right? So what are those best parts? And like for me, A lot of that comes out to like the decorations, because I love all the decorations kind of a thing. Although not so crazy as some of these people on Instagram. I'm showing my husband, I'm like, look, these people have way more totes than we do. Stop complaining about my 5 totes. Um, but but really, I think like, I went through a couple years where I just like didn't have the energy to do it, or like people weren't coming here, and it was just kind of like I could just do what I wanted to do for myself.
Mhm.
And so like for me, I really like having the Christmas village. Like I like the Christmas villagers. I keep them out for a while because they're wintry. The Santas and stuff move out after Christmas, but everything else kind of stays for a couple more weeks. But like I really like setting up the village. But I'm like, I don't need to put garland on the stairs or, overdo the wreath on the outside and stuff. And I've really simplified that over time. And I feel like because we have stuff, we don't have to use it every year.
You don't have to use it every year. And you also may decide this is just not me anymore. And then let
Yeah.
it go. Let somebody else bless them with that, or give it to them, or donate it, and let somebody else go, oh, this is perfect for my front door. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I have,
Or you could also be in that phase too. Like my mom, she moved, which also helped, but she has less money because she has more money because she's not taking care of us anymore. You know? So, she can actually, and she has a little bit more time. So she actually went out and redid her whole living room. So she
hey,
has like the themed Christmas tree now. Like she has like a really cute, she likes the black and white checker, that buffalo check. So she like did like her whole house, and like it sounds like a lot more than it is, but you know what I mean? Like she went out, she color coordinated everything, she shopped the sale, she found the items and like really designed her own tree, which wasn't a luxury that she had the time or probably the resources to do, while she's raising her family. So it's kind of fun that way, too.
but she loves it and she wants to do it. Good for her.
Absolutely, yeah. But again, it's making it smart too. Like, it's getting the smaller business stored in, so it's easier to carry them up the stairs. It's getting um the rooms decorated in certain ways that, you can have emphasis without having a lot of the weight. Like you could put up curtains, which don't weigh as much to carry or to store than like a whole figurine set.
Right, right. Or who was it? You do just the pillow slips on the beds that are Christmas, not the whole bed, not all the.
Yeah.
I thought
Yep.
that was brilliant.
I was doing that for a while, a little bit, but it was like I was storing all these sheets for one week a year,
Yeah.
and they're not high quality usually, they're pretty low quality sheets.
And
So
if you choose not to do any of it, I mean, like as I said earlier in I think one of our coffee chats, I barely got the wreath on the door for Thanksgiving.
yeah,
So, and that's okay. I'm okay with that,
yeah. And I didn't decorate hardly at all for Thanksgiving because it was just like, yeah, it was just not in the cards this year, and I didn't miss it. I think the key is like if you're really missing it, then add it back in.
Yeah. But you can also do it different. Like we don't send out Christmas cards. I do New Year's cards because it takes the pressure off.
hmm
I send out New Year's cards to people and, take a little note because I don't have to have it done before Christmas.
Yep. Yep. And then I saw some lady that actually she was in one of the organizing tracks and she sent out her cards already. She's like, I don't care if they get the Christmas card before Thanksgiving. I was like in the Christmas spirit. It's easy enough to do while watching a Christmas movie and she got them done. I don't send Christmas cards. I'm not like unless they're very special people, I don't send a card. I never got into that. But I do like those. Some of them you can send to like the North Pole, I think does it, but on Valentine's Day you can send it to Loveland, Colorado. And if you send it in like a pre-paid envelope, these like I think it's senior citizens, might not be, but some volunteer group actually stamps them like, from Loveland and it has like a cute little design on it. So your
Oh,
card comes with like a little special stamp.
oh, that's
Um,
cute.
so you could be like you were purposely late on your cards.
Purposefully, because I wanted to come from Loveland.
The other thing with your thing though is you can also get all your addresses and everything updated.
Uh-huh.
Whereas if people mailed you the card and then you wait, you're actually saving yourself a little bit of hassle too.
Well, yeah, because I keep my addresses on, I use that standard Avery peel and stick labels. So
Yeah.
as cars come in and I notice the addresses have changed, I just change it right on my on the computer, so I don't have to worry about it I just do it as it happens.
Yeah.
And then I print off my labels, peel and stick. Off it goes.
Yeah, I think it's all those shortcuts, and it's not feeling bad about taking shortcuts. I don't know why we feel like we have to do things the hard way, because I feel like that a lot. Like, oh, if I don't do it, and then people say like, oh, lower your standards, but it's like it's not lowering the standards. It's just why am I doing something? You know what I mean? So like for you, it's like, can you do the peel and stick labels and be able to write out a more thoughtful message? Or like I talked about this in my one video, like with the cookies. It's like, if you want to just get pre-made cookies and bake them so you have that smell in your house, and you have some warm Christmas to enjoy the lights with, like that's good enough. If you really love baking, then go all out. But I think sometimes we're told like, oh, we have to do all this stuff by hand or from scratch, and
Mm-hmm.
and I think like that's one of these, like you mentioned, you order your meals out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have for years. And I turned all these other gals because, like, oh, I got 20 people. I was like, let me introduce you to the concept of ordering Thanksgiving or Christmas for that matter. And it just, I am not, I don't, I will cook a dish or two, and I'm talking
Yeah.
about cream Brussels sprouts. I mean, I'm not talking about anything complicated. I'm good at heating up. But I have ordered out and then brought in for years, either by the plate when it was just the three or four of us, because we had two kids and Torsten may or may not be there. And it made sense. I got 3 plates for four of us. There was enough food left over to have even leftovers, and it was complete Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, everything you could have possibly wanted. And now I still, in fact, when we're done here, I'm going to go pick up my order from the market that had the turkey breast and all the trimmings. And then everyone's bringing a dish that's going to show up.
Yeah.
So they feel they're contributing to the meal, and I'm not in the kitchen all day because first thing Thanksgiving morning, one of my that I do that's really important to me is go out to the blessing of the hounds. There's 10 of us that go out, and there's thousands that go, but we tailgate and we have breakfast and all of that. So I don't want to.
Do you want to explain to those of us that don't have hounds around to bless what that is?
Hounds around the west. So I live in Pinehurst, which is the golf capital, and then Southern Pines, which is right next to it, which is a huge horse community. I mean, nationally known. And they have a large fox hunting community. And on Thanksgiving morning, they bring thousands of people gather in this huge field, and you tailgate and have breakfast and everything. And they bring all the pack out, which is I think upwards of 60. I don't know if they hunt all of them that morning. I mean, hunt with them all that morning, but they bring them out, and there's an Episcopal priest. I believe it's an Episcopal priest, and all the riders come out in all their formal, beautiful, scarlets and blacks jackets, and they bless the hounds and bless the horses and bless the riders and hope that they have a safe ride. And everybody gets to see the horses and the hounds, and they jump over the jumps, and then they go off on a hunt, a drag hunt, because it's a scented cloth that they drag so that they can for sure be able to chase something that day. And then they come back an hour later, and you get to see the hounds up close and the horses and the riders, and everybody brings breakfast and shares. And last time we were there, we met this family from California, and we dragged them back to our tailgate and said, "Here, come eat breakfast with us." And it's just fun. It's cold and fun, but it's cold, but it's fun. So it's our new tradition. And right now there's just 10 just of us going out tailgating side by side. And then we'll see hundreds of other people, lots of which we may know. And it's a spectacle. It's very cool. So
That is really cool.
it is. It is. You'll have to come visit sometime and come.
I will. I'll have to do that. I think too though, with the ordering Thanksgiving, like we've done that too, where we ordered it just for convenience because like we rented a house or we were visiting like my grandmother or whatever, and so like for us, like yeah, we wound up like there was a couple things that we used to get it from Cracker Barrel. I know they've changed it since, but before they used to be you could pick your own sides and everything. And so like there's a couple things like the green bean casserole, like they don't have that, so like or at least not the way she wanted it, so like you make your own or your own pies, but it really kind of gives you that freedom and that time back. But my family, also my mom, like she did some fun stuff when we were growing up, like because we usually ate like the standard meal, kind of a thing. And so for New Year's, and then it wound up just being like the kickoff to Christmas, we would watch a whole bunch of movies and we would do all the fun appetizers, like the mozzarella sticks and the I don't know, like all the kind of stuff that you can't normally buy at the grocery store. It was kind of fun to just be like, yeah, let's go crazy. And then we've also done like where we got a meat tray from the grocery store, like a deli tray.
Mhm.
And you could just get like a deli tray with like chips and then obviously add your own sides and stuff. But it just made like a really easy, like you put it out, everybody helps themselves throughout the day, and then we would watch like a TV show or whatever. And of course this was back when they were on like DVDs, so we would
Yeah.
put like the whole season on DVD. So um
You
yeah,
just,
just
I love that.
yeah, I think food's important, but again, like what does that food look like can change, year
About
to year.
3 years ago, my husband doesn't really care about turkey. And it was just the
Mhm.
four of us. My son happened to be home at the time. We had pizza and then a dessert. Like whatever people wanted for dessert, I went out and got a whole big, huge variety of desserts, cheesecakes and little mousses. I mean, it was great. We had pizza and dessert for Thanksgiving. Best time ever.
Yeah.
Do what you want to do. I mean, and if you were single like me out in the middle of nowhere, I ate what was easy and what I wanted to eat. Like, we had nothing but junk food and watched movies all afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Um,
grateful not eating food, and Christmas is the same way. Don't
and then
complicate it. Make it.
I think too though, like when you're designing the holidays, like I mentioned, we traveled a lot, because our family was kind of spread out. But we've also done like where we've done holiday trips together. And we also one time we were just like life was lifing for everybody and nobody really wanted to host. And so we actually rented an Airbnb up on the lake. It was great. A big storm came in, so we had like the crashing wave, it was pretty cool. Um, but like we rented an Airbnb and then it was like we just had basic holiday decorations, to like a little tree and stuff, and everybody could just come and like we didn't have to clean your house, you didn't have to get pillows for everybody, you didn't have to clean up afterwards, like you didn't have to do all that laundry and stuff. Somebody else did all that for us. So that was kind of a fun thing. And then traveling at the holidays really isn't that bad. Like you do have to plan a little bit ahead because some stuff is still obviously closed on the actual day of the holiday. But I don't know, Mary, have you done a lot of trips? Like, have you done the holiday cruises or the?
I wish. That is, I have mentioned that 2 years in a row to my family, because my son lives out west now. And I'm like, okay, rather than having Christmas here, why
Uh-huh.
don't we take that money and go on a cruise? Well, and so far, my son and daughter are like, no. And we all love to cruise, but they're like, no, I want to be here for Christmas. I want Christmas here. I'm like, okay, I get it. But someday, I think that is a brilliant idea. Now, a friend of mine and her mother, the year after her dad died, her
Mhm.
mom's husband, her dad, she and her mother took a beautiful 2-week trip to England for Christmas. They didn't want to be home
Oh,
at
wow.
and it was a flippin' Hallmark movie. They stayed at a castle, which has been converted into a small hotel, and it snowed, and Father Christmas showed up, and it was perfect. They weren't surrounded by really difficult memories or anything. They made their own memories together for the first year
Mhm.
without him. And that it was huge for them. And I'm like, how cool is that? You make you don't sit around remembering the absence of someone. You make your own new memories in a completely different place.
Mhm.
And I love that. I would love, and of course, I have lived in the middle of the Pacific and by myself at Christmas, which is traveling. I just didn't travel home. I just stayed put and, had a very different, laid on the beach, had a very different experience. So I think
Yeah.
traveling, I love that Airbnb idea. And,
Yeah, I think I've been seeing a lot men that we have done it because, like it's just I'm frugal, Mary. Like I'm not gonna pay somebody to put a Christmas tree in their bedroom, but I have noticed a lot of hotels and stuff are doing that for families and stuff, especially like with the little kids. Like they'll have like the full decorated Christmas tree, or like they'll have like some of the boutique hotels now are doing like individual experiences. So like if you come during Christmas week, like they'll have caroling by the fire, or piano, or like they'll make more of the traditional meals. And so then that way, if you don't have a big family or something, but you want to be around people, like you could kind of do it at your own pace without necessarily doing a cruise. But I've noticed that more like, well, I know like Dollywood and Disney and stuff obviously do the big trees, but even some of like the Hilton properties are starting to offer that too.
right.
So
And
it could be
for
an option.
it's great. You can kind of like tour a town that you wanted to see before by yourself, or you just don't have to stay put. You can just do your thing.
Yeah.
I know even when I travel with my husband, he doesn't necessarily like to, when we cruise, he doesn't necessarily like to go on the tours, and I go on the tours. So I'm a single on the tours, and inevitably there will be another woman to talk to that we tend to chat with each other, or a mom with a teenage daughter, or some, you always kind of find somebody to chat
Yeah.
with. And people, around the holidays, you're like, oh yeah, come sit with us. I love
Well, especially like when you do the cruises or if you do like the Airbnb, not the Airbnb, a traditional B&B and stuff, like they'll actually even have times where like if you want to be social, you can.
yeah.
Or like the extroverts, you can all gather.
Yes, or the wine and cheese around the fire or
Yeah.
camping or whatever. Absolutely. And for you introverts, you can just sit quietly in the corner and read your book.
Yeah, that's when we leave the fireplace to go,
Yeah.
go back to our room.
Like, I'm going back to my room now. Y'all care.
Introvert doesn't mean you're not sociable. Just putting that out there. It just means how you recharge your energy. So if you've recharged throughout the day, you'll probably be happy socializing too. Um it's just
Yeah.
kind of a funny play there. But I think one of the things though is that it's definitely harder in its own ways to be alone at Christmas or alone at holidays. They always say Christmas, in the movies and stuff. But I think that some people are really okay with it. And sometimes you're like, whew, glad I don't have to deal with that drama, like you can watch other people's family drama.
I,
But
yeah.
I think like the idea here is that, you're on your own, but you don't necessarily have to be alone at the holidays. So like you mentioned being a tourist in a town, like, it's just kind of good to go out because it is the darker months like you had in your seasonal video, which was really good. You talked about like how the darker months they display on your mind a little bit. So like now's a great time to just go out, like if there's a holiday parade or a sip and shop or something in your local community to go check that out or just to go like be a tourist and look at all the other people's decorations and stuff.
Exactly. And like where I live, like I said, in the Southeast, it's 75 degrees today. Now, tomorrow the high is 50. But it's like beautiful weather, perfect weather. It's sunny to walk around and check out all of what's going on. And a lot of shops between now and the end of the holiday will be doing a lot of, sip and shop, or what do you call a pop-up markets, all of these things. And it's perfect. I mean, the whole Southeast is under a heat wave right now. And I think Florida looks like it's 4th of July. So, for those that are in California, it doesn't have extreme weather. Now, right now, you've got horrible winds and a snow coming in on the lake effect.
Yeah, I'm hoping for better decorations.
Yeah,
Like, come on, fancy frosty.
there you go, fancy. I love that. But most of the places or a lot of places in the country, it's great to get out and walk around and check out everything.
Yeah.
And be a tourist in your own town or a tourist in the little town next to you.
Yeah. I also find like I do like having the bird feeder because it just kind of brings a little bit more liveliness, like especially in the winter where it's just that bleak snow. Like it is kind of fun to see like what birds kind of visit over here. And I saw this idea to do like a thanking tree, which I thought was really cute, where you actually set up like a little, well, hopefully you already have a little tree outside that you can decorate, but then people put like animal safe snacks on the tree, like little peanuts for the squirrels or like bird seed on the tree and stuff. And there's like a little fancy tree for the animals, which is kind of fun because it gets that life into your house, because it can feel so kind of quiet, and especially when the winter storms are around, like to just kind of see like, oh, there's birds and squirrels and whatever was still out there. Just it makes you feel more connected, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And particularly if you have harsh winters like you have,
Yeah.
they need that additional help. They need those extra calories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So providing bird food and some people do squirrels and deer or whatever. Yeah, it's very helpful to the critters out there.
Yeah, and it kind of is fun because it's like a pet, I mean, you don't have to take care of them every day, but you have to go out there and then I like to pick the different flavors of suet. I don't think the birds really care, but I'm like, oh, this one's peanut butter and this one's very berry cranberry. I mean, they know what they're doing with that packaging. As they get here, you're like, I'm gonna just go get the plain one. You're like, oh, but look, this one is party flavored. What does a bird party taste like? I don't know, but I buy that.
Brian, so
And then I go out there and I'm like, look, birds, it's bird party flavor. And then, like, shooing off the squirrel. Like, leave the birds.
Okay. Hot tip for that. You can buy flaming suet that's flaming, or you can buy liquid also to put on your normal inexpensive, like I buy bird feed, buy one, get
Yeah.
one. It's a liquid. It's called like liquid hot or something to prevent the squirrels.
Yeah.
As
You
mammals,
told us about that. And it's basically like ghost pepper in liquid form. And what I did is I went to the Dollar Tree and I got like a fry spatula. It's like a big spoon with holes in it. And I stirred it up and I threw that thing away because it is strong, but the whole thing will last you a whole season, like one bottle.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
But it's because the birds can't taste the heat, but it keeps the animals. It also keeps like any mice and stuff. I mean, the squirrels
Yeah,
are
mammals can taste it. It's very hot, but
yeah, it's kind of why your mouth's like you don't have unnecessary animals. Christmas mouse can stay outside,
yeah, Christmas mouse is perfectly happy outside.
So, but yeah, I think I feel like those are kind of like the main tips that we wanted to talk about today. But I think it's just the idea is that the key takeaway would be kind of everybody's Christmas probably looks more different than they want to admit, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. It's just really figuring out what's important to you and your family. Man, you had a really funny story about not checking in with your family. Maybe you can end with that one.
Yeah.
But just doing what you really enjoy and focusing more on the connections and on the experience of the season than like what you feel like you have to do.
Particularly if you're retired, whether or not your spouse, you have a spouse. I mean, what freedom. You really can't go where you want to and do what you want to do, kind of when you want to do it, hopefully.
Yeah.
And if you don't want the snow, then hopefully you can, go for a week somewhere that's not snowy or bad weather or, what a great
Well, and even when you just work from home, let alone be retired, like you don't mind the snow as much when you're not shoveling off your car at 6 a.m. to get to work.
Yeah,
When you can sit there with your hot chocolate, it does make it a little bit more bearable.
that is true. That is true. Everybody needs hot chocolate. Even in Hawaii, we had hot chocolate. I don't care if it's 80 degrees outside. I still made little peppermint hot chocolate.
That's so funny.
Gotta love that.
So yeah, Mary, do you want to end with your story about not checking in with your family?
Yes. Yes. Yes, lesson learned. So, I encourage everybody to do your own thing. However, do check in with your family before you make a major change. Now my daughter's 19, so she must have been 17 at the time. This was 2 years ago because we didn't make the mistake this past Christmas, and I won't make it again this Christmas. So I decided 17. Okay, come on. Yes, we'll hang stockings up because they look nice hanging down the stairs, but I'm not going to stuff the stockings with candy and all of that stuff. What's the point? I mean, everybody knows it's not.
And it's really expensive. Stockings
Yes.
expensive.
Stockings are
That
expensive.
little stuff like diamonds, little things cost a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm like, so we had the stockings, but I wasn't going to stuff them all full of the candy. And doesn't have a huge sweet tooth anyhow. Whatever it was, I wasn't going to stuff. And I said something about, I think Christmas Eve. I said, yeah, all your stuff's wrapped up. And she goes, I said, yeah, we're not going to do stockings this year, stuff stockings this year. You'd have thought I had said Santa's not coming. Oh my gosh. She was like genuinely, she was like,
Your husband was upset about it too, wasn't he?
everybody, the whole bloody family was unhappy with me. They're like, what do you mean we're not going to do the stockings? What do you mean? And I'm like, well, we're all kind of semi-adult here. And they're like, oh no. Okay, so guess what's open on Christmas Eve? Like 7-Elevens and Circle K's. Oh, I'm out at 7-Elevens and Circle K's on Christmas Eve, like trying to find candy. And there's a sort of okay banana. And I mean, oh my God. And what type of little trinket do you find at the gas station? So that was really expensive stockings that year. So I went and got stuff and stuffed it all in there and filled it all out. And never making that mistake ever again. Check with your family. Just when you think they've outgrown something and don't care about it, you find out indeed they do care. And then you find out they don't care about things you think they care about. So, not failing on the stocking stuffing again in the future. That was bad.
Oh, gosh, that's so funny. Well, Mary, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you like always. And we hope that you guys like our new format. If you like some of the coffee chat formats, let us know. We just thought it was a fun way to share our ideas together. And I guess before we go, if you guys have a favorite Christmas movie that you're like, or a holiday movie of any kind, I know my husband likes the planes, trains, and automobiles. I'm like, I don't know, but if you guys have one, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from it, and we hope that you guys are able to create whatever holidays that fit your lifestyle right now.
And I would, oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I would love to hear what holiday traditions you've added in or you stopped.
Yeah.
Or like me, you stopped and found out, whoops, I can't stop that.
Don't take away the stockings.
Don't do that.
Well, until next time, friends. Cheers.
Oh, cheers, everybody. Happy holidays.
All right. Bye.